Lutshani isitshaba sakazimu. Uzimu lo iseseyikunyana. Uzimu lo iseseyikakarapa. Uzimu lo nguye owahlola isabata nephasika. Uzimu walithuduwaze lonke. Lokho abesikhulanga ngokuthi distributor. Ngeke into leyo lokuthwenya kakhulu. Lokho ayithwenyako ukreya imoto zigala khamba ihlakahla engakhambi kuhle. Besikhuwa bathi iyamisfaya lokho. Ube ithuntsha nemililo lemuva ukwazi ukuthi velaphi. Ekhambelana nento efana naleyo. Nasebantwini khona abantu bathi amasilebi amisfaya. Zokhuluma nge-mental health. Njele i-mental health le, we've got a doctor who's going to talk to us. A young man who's married to one wife. Okay? And a young man who has one child, he is Dr. Sandile Bata. Usiyoboshwa amanyosi. Mhlambi wandaba. Undaba ezitha. Owabhula ngenkomo, wabhula ngehaha. Nasi isizwe shani. Vuma uNkulunkulu akusebenzise. Ukhulume kuso naye. Inkosi ibusise.
Very extravagant, and I think it's I am not qualified to I will never feel qualified. Even mental health, I don't deal with patients in mental health. Also was a later on in diabetes. His wife deals with patients in mental health, so I am very underqualified. So we will pray and then sit with the team. That's fine. Now, into engiyithandayo ngezempilo ukuthi uNkulunkulu wasinika i-remedy and siyayazi sonke. We've had the remedy for more than 120 years. Ayikho into engizoyisho that you do not have access to. The remedy for any and all of ukugula is New Start. So it's all the time. The problem is we have a New Start as the people who have been given the message of New Start. Being invited to help, and I feel it's pointless to talk against the health because we know so much, but we refuse to do. So the remedy to having great mental health is New Start. This mental health, but I will mention that show us we already have the cure. In modern practice, or if is a patient is in any mental health problem, our aim is to treat the symptom, not to cure the symptom. But God has given us the cure. Now, who that have been identified ezibanga ukuthi umuntu ayithole challenge of some sort with their mental health. And I will go through those things. Some of those things, there are 10 things that have been identified, or some hits that have been identified that will cause one to have issue of some sort. You can have 1, 2, 3 and not have a mental illness. Now, the mental illness is not only it's also anxiety and depression, but they big and wide spectrum in mental health. So there are 10 things that we are going to talk about as the Pambiselana or as the hits, if I can put it like that lead one to have a mental illness of some sort. Okay. So before I do that, I will go through the cure first, and then we will go through the cause. The first, so I'm going to start. It's going to be very quick. If you were an Adventist for a year or so, you've gone through a health problem, you know what is going to start. So they are nutrients they cause one to be susceptible to developing a mental health problem. And that one of them is having a deficiency in magnesium. The second is having a deficiency in zinc. A third is having a deficiency in your omegas. And then N is having an excess in copper. My elements now are but it's also foods that we eat. And it's so omega. So now I'm talking about the cure. So if you have a deficiency in omegas, you are susceptible. Not to what you are going to, you are susceptible. Alright. We usually talk about this all the time. Foods that are high in omega, fish, okay. Ogunye, flaxseed, okay. Ogunye, not really. Almond, okay. Ogunye, all right. Okay. So a lot of people, that's because of the teaching that we have even as doctors in our training, we are misinformed about it is good to have fish. Now look, 100 years ago it was very good to have fish. Clean fish. And it is also good today. Clean fish and there is unclean fish. And we ideally, I think if we do have fish, we have clean fish. Not lobsters, crab, and oysters, and all those things that are unclean food. Clean fish has omegas, but clean fish has the highest source of mercury. And the mercury has been linked with any and all sorts of neurological problems, including mental health. So fish is not that great. Now, if bias comes my bias is plant. It's whole food, plant-based diet. Whole food, plant-based. English. Okay. So my bias will be towards whole food, plant-based diet. It is a diet that God gave us from the beginning. And it is a diet that the world is adopting now because it has been shown to be far superior to any other diet. I'm not going to go into the studies, but that's my bias. Okay, so sources of omega, we've spoken about nuts. Someone spoke about nuts, so we know walnuts, peanuts, pecan nuts, those are good sources of omega. Someone spoke about seeds, chia seeds, flaxseed, and pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds are also good, or they contain good amounts of zinc, magnesium, calcium, beta-carotene. Just pumpkin seeds. So we can see that they are already a good cure for mental health. Just pumpkin seeds. Just pumpkin seeds. And then there's soybean, not the soya products. Soybean, so there's a difference. The soya products is soybean that is highly refined. Instead, my bias is whole food, plant-based. Whole food. The bean, not the soya bean. Alright? Okay. Second thing we spoke about is zinc. So I'll try and be quick because I can take forever talking about this. Second thing was zinc. Zinc is found in cashews, mushrooms, oatmeal, pumpkin seeds we talked about. We will add tofu, but not in excess, and chickpeas. Another element or vitamin that has been associated with having mental health issues is the lack of vitamin C. Vitamin C is found in citrus fruits, orange, lemon, even tomatoes have a good amount of vitamin C. Magnesium. Magnesium is found in avocados. Avocados are also good in omegas. They also have vitamin K, vitamin B12, potassium. Vitamin K, vitamin B12, and vitamin D are also, or have been also linked with developing a mental health issue. Other foods that are good in magnesium are legumes. When I went to medical school, one of the guys was tired because of our Sabbath dish was legumes or lentils, and he was like, I was tired of lentils now. But lentils are good. Having legumes on every day of the week, not lentils, legumes, assorted legumes on every day of the week is better than any animal-based diet. You can wake up and have legumes on any and every day. There is no deficiency that you have. There's no deficiency that we have. Okay. Now, let's this is only just the end part of the cure, and I can continue and continue. But in the interest of time, I'll try and be quick. And then last but not least, your whole grains, which is wheat, oatmeal, barley, quinoa, and buckwheat. Those have been also found to have a good amount of magnesium. Banana, good in potassium and magnesium, spinach, kale, and your collard greens. So this is all food that is easily available, already available and inexpensive. And it contains all of the micronutrients that you need in order for us not to be susceptible to having a mental illness. Okay, what is the okay, I'll talk about that later. Alright, then secondly, in this session, I'll be quick. Secondly is exercise. That's part of new starting it. I'm going to keep it very simple. The last time I spoke about mental health, the doctor who had invited me to speak about mental health felt like I didn't do justice of the topic because I didn't. So there's a criteria that is used by a psychiatrist to diagnose if you have a particular mental health problem. So they wanted me to go into that criteria so that it can sound like it's a good presentation. I didn't, and afterwards they stood up and then they went through the criteria. Maybe someone will do that for you in this setting. I'm still not going to do that. I'm not going to go through the criteria. I'll just give you the framework and then we can find the criteria yourself. Now, exercise, exercise, it improves oxygenation, so the amount of oxygen that you get improves. If you read mind, character, and personality, it talks about having poor oxygenation or not breathing in enough air or oxygen being one of the major causes of even mental health problems. Exercising is good because you take in deep breaths and you get clean air and oxygen. Also, the way that we sit, it talks about standing tall and sitting tall. Most of us crouch even when we walk. I don't know why. That's also a cause of us not getting in enough oxygen and air that is clean and good and can contribute to us developing a mental health problem. Just how we sit. All right. So that's another effect or what we get from exercise is we have improved or better circulation. If you ever exercise, if you do exercise, you know that as soon as you start walking or running, your heart starts beating and you get circulation going throughout the whole body. Another thing is what we call mitochondria. That is a small particle within our cell that God put there as a energy store or reserve. So if I need energy, the mitochondria produces energy. The more I run, the more energy I have, because the more mitochondria I produce. What was shown long time ago is that for students, if they want to do better in class, they need to exercise so that they can have more mitochondria. Then that mitochondria that they use for exercise, they will use for studying. So you get an improvement or your thinking capability is better because you're exercising. And then another benefit of exercising is that you get a secretion of a hormone or endorphins, which are responsible for us being happy. So you also get happy hormones by exercising.
Okay.
Okay, I'll skip through what I can lot about water, but the human body is made primarily of water, and we need to have water in our system in order for us to have a good mental health. Sunshine. Vitamin D. So there's a notion that as Africans we're not deficient in vitamin D. It's more people who are in the northern hemisphere and all those countries who are deficient in vitamin D. We have, with another doctor that works at my hospital, started checking the levels just for fun of patients that come to our clinic. Vitamin D levels were actually deficient. We used to not be deficient when we still used to work in the garden and have the sun. Now, I get into my car, I go to the office, it's still just in Yamama. I go back home, it's dark. That's our routine. On Sabbath, I come to church, stay in church the whole day. When I go back, it's dark. We are deficient of vitamin D. And a deficiency of vitamin D has also been associated. So I'm not talking about, there's nothing new that I'm telling you. This is just new start. Sunlight and vitamin D, which we need in order for us not to be deficient. I've spoken about air and oxygen. All right. Then temperance. Temperance. Now this one is what we usually say. All good things need to be done in moderation. I was reading that book, Mind, Character and Personality, chapter 46, where she talks about depression. One of the statements she talks about it is overeating that can weaken the digestive organs. Once overeating or the excess food that you've had has weakened the digestive organs, that then causes one to have a desire for more stimulating food or substances. And in the current society that we live in, we find ourselves as Adventists. This is nothing. My younger brother was told me there's a church, an Adventist church, where they have tea time. Because we work in corporate as Adventists. We work in corporate and there's tea time. And we go and get our coffee at tea time. Or we get whatever tea that we get at tea time. Or whatever other stimulant that we get at tea time. And fair enough, when you do get your coffee, you feel that now I can work. I have the energy to work now. But the caffeine, I didn't want to talk about it, but it's fine. Caffeine has been shown to give you a paradoxical high. So it is actually a depressant, not a stimulant. But when you take it for that transient moment or short period of time, you will feel high and elated. But what then happens is that's not normal to your body. It will drop your enzymes very low. And you will feel I need coffee again. So that I can feel high. I work with a lot of people who drink coffee. So before I lived in Manitoba, I never knew that people drink coffee so much. I never knew. Doctors are very unhealthy, by the way. There's a portion that is healthy and then there's aside. I was shocked when I got to medical school in first year because I thought, I thought doctors were helping people. And I saw doctors drinking. To me, it didn't make sense. I was like, how is this even possible? How? But then I discovered that, a lot of doctors are not healthy. And we're generally not taught nutrition. So this I can say this. I can say this. We go throughout medical school, and the primary aim of getting a doctor out there is so that they can give you medication. Not we generally want to make people well. Most of us are well meaning, but we are taught to dispense medication. Yes. That is our aim. Anyway, that was just an aside. So, in the morning, I see a lot of people that I work with, they are very grumpy. I haven't had my coffee. They sit down. Yeah, now I've had coffee. Now I can start. We are the same, but how it starts is by intemperance. Something that was good food, but I had it in excess. Other stimulants, which are not really seen stimulants, it's the fast food that we now enjoy so much. I'm going to buy a Nando's veggie burger, a spare veggie burger, pizza. By the way, the fried chips, they're the unhealthiest thing you can ever do to yourself in damaging your brain and your body is having fried chips. The ones that you go when you buy at Nando's or whatever, they have a chemical that is used to preserve dead bodies. The ones that we dissect when we were studying. They are the unhealthiest. McDonald's has the highest content of those preservatives. I'm talking about the foods that are stimulants. You can do this. You can buy McDonald's today, leave it here, go, come back in 2 weeks. It will taste the same as the day you bought it. A friend of mine, he bought McDonald's, he forgot, he left, went overseas for 2 weeks. He came back, he thought it would be stinking and filled with mold. He opened it, the chips still look exactly the same. The burger still with the bun, everything exactly the same as when he bought it and put it in his microwave. I went to the fridge. So these are all the things that we start craving because we are intemperate. Then intemperance ends up leading us to addiction. The coffee that I was talking about, the chocolate, females I don't know about in our setting, but I know females like chocolate a lot, and it's also very addictive. When they are sad, they want chocolate, so then you can pick them up, and it does. But then the more you eat it, you now want to eat it so that you can just be okay, not to be happy, because you are constantly sad. There are many other forms of addiction as well that play on the or that hit the brain. I want to go to the hits now. That hit the brain and cause one to be susceptible to a mental illness. There is gambling addiction. There are people who who just gamble addiction. There's no word for that in English. In English it's art, but that's not a proper representation. She used to work with someone who would, on the 15th, get their salary, go to Sibaya Casino. The whole weekend, they would sleep there. On Sunday, every penny would be gone. A more subtle addiction that we have is playing the Rotary as Adventist. If I can only cheat, I don't want much, Lord. Not much. Just that 1 million. I don't want much. And it's also an addiction. It falls under this gambling addiction that we have. And then there are the illicit drugs that we find ourselves, hopefully not Adventists, addicted to, like your alcohol, your cigarette, coke, coke. I think coke has been overemphasized and spoken about in the Adventist church. If you read the history of coke, it originated with them adding cocaine. So they used to use coke. The white coke is because it's coca short for cocaine. So basically you are having a high on cocaine. It's the same as cocaine. And all its other uses, how it the engines of cars. We started drinking. No, I'm serious. Because we spoke about coke, I wasn't going to speak about coke.
Stay there.
No. Yes, it's actually quite sad. There are so many things that we are doing, and that's why sometimes I feel there is so things that we're doing that are against the health message that we have, and there are parts of that everyone always have, especially Adventists. Once you talk about health, they will say it's not an issue unto salvation. That's the primary rebuttal. Talk about health to any Adventist. It's not an issue unto salvation. There's a verse that says, to him who knows to do good and does not do good, to him it is sin. So I got convicted with this verse. I'll say I know a little bit about health. Now I'm taking a detour. I know a little bit, but keep this story in mind. I know a little bit about health. One of the worst thing that you can ever have in your diet is cow's milk. That is the worst thing you can have in your diet. Cow's milk has a protein that is called casein. That protein is responsible for almost every disease you have as a human. Cancer, protein. Cancer, casein is implicated. Diabetes, casein is implicated. It has a similar structure to the pancreas. We find nowadays Africans have more diabetes as opposed to when, I would say 50 years from now. And we're having the type 1 diabetes. Okay, no, I'm taking my friend's talk. He's gonna come. Anyway, casein, cow's milk, is very bad. This is a detail. Let me continue. Where was I? Okay, addictions. One of the other, I would say a very subtle addiction which we don't see as an addiction, especially us who are Adventists. This is not an addiction. Even when you read Sister White, and she's talking about it, we question, what does she mean? No, this can't be true. No, maybe she was listening. No, maybe this lady was not happy in her marriage. We have a rapid and a rampant addiction to sex. And it destroys the mind. Now, a rampant addiction to sex, sexual intercourse. Those that are married and those that are not married. One of my friends was still in university. He was invited to go and speak to one of the other universities, and then he speaks about it. And he says, no, I'm going to speak about it because we as Adventists, we are students. You will find maybe one or two are married. We are engaging in sexual intercourse as those that are secular. Maybe I will talk on a biblical character that had. So I'm going to talk about 2 or 3 biblical characters that had this addiction. Solomon. How many wives did he have? How many concubines? If you read the history of Solomon, he says he has done it all. It is in vain. And he says, in fact, it caused him to be depressed. After having done it all, there was a meme that I saw. It's quite an old meme. I saw it from one of the orthopedic groups that I was in. And it says, so this guy is waiting. And the meme says, when you get out of a stable relationship and you go into a new relationship, and now you realize you must start using condoms. And then I'm asking myself, what kind of society are we living in? That's the only thing I see when I see a girl. Sex. That's it. It is rampant in our church. You find old men, grown men, parking under trees and doing all sorts of things. No, we say there's something that is laughable. And then you think of it in the scheme of a God who is so. Sex was created by God and is holy. It is an addiction that kills the mind. Whether it's pornography or, like Solomon, having 1,000 wives. That was the last addiction I was going to talk about. Alright? Now, the second to last thing is or rest, as we are spoken about. Rest, and we know, or it has been shown that having a normal circadian rhythm, so circadian rhythm means I have a predictable, I sleep, I wake up cycle. So that's a circadian rhythm. It's predictable. has been shown to benefit the mind in causing you not to be susceptible to having a mental illness. And the last, but the most important, is trust in God. And I think Mufundisi was talking about that, and we are very fortunate as Adventists for this message that we have, and if we truly practice it, we should not be found amongst those that have a mental health illness. All right. So that is the cure for our mental health issues. That is the cure. This is just the tip of the iceberg. It goes deeper than that. Okay. Now I come from a family where there is a susceptibility to having a mental health illness. My oldest brother, he is schizophrenic, so it's what you would say we are sad. And he has been schizophrenic since 2008, 2007. And it's one of the reasons why I hate psychiatric medication. He is not the same. He has never been the same. If you look at any patient who's a psychiatric patient, they all behave the same. Irrespective of the personality we had before we started taking the medication. Once they take the medication, they all behave the same. When I told him, yeah, all of them. Go to the hospital, all of them, yeah. There is no, as I said, it's trying to control, not bringing cure. Most of the things I spoke about are things that are primarily related to our mental health. Okay. So as I said, my older brother my oldest brother is schizophrenic or is psychotic. That's schizophrenic. He used to smoke weed a lot. Drink alcohol, and smoke and do all those things. I've never really looked and said, okay, these are the hits we go to the causes now. The hits that caused him to have, or that tipped him over so that he became psychotic. On the backdrop of him being psychotic, my grandfather, whilst he was still alive, spoke to my father and he said, tell your son to stop smoking weed. In our family, if we smoke weed, we become psychotic. But he said, when you get older, you become psychotic. He started being psychotic. He was 28. He was 28, about 28 to 32. That's when he started, about 2008. So that's when he started being psychotic. Way younger than the age that my grandfather was saying. We generally, if my family, you become crazy. I have a younger brother. He's also psychotic. Can't remember how old he is. But it started when he was 1918 because of also smoking weed. Now, there are other hits. The first predisposing factor to getting a mental illness is a genetic predisposition. So it's something that happens because you were born and you have a predisposition to having a mental health illness. As with any and most diseases, we all have a genetic predisposition. My grandfather had diabetes when he was 40, and he lived with diabetes for 40 years thereafter. He died in 80 when he died, 96. And he lived with diabetes for 40 years. So because of that, my father was very guilty. I had also had diabetes. My father just passed away this year. He never had diabetes, but when he was about to pass away, they said he had diabetes. Anyway, so there's a genetic predisposition to getting. So what are the things that can now cause you? Most of us we don't know, maybe some of us we do know, cause you to have a mental health illness. It's genetic. In the world that we live in, the thing that is heavily emphasized is genetics, more than any other cause. If you talk about people that are gay and all those things, they have a genetic predisposition and all of those things. I'm not sure how many doctors are here. I will tell you now, sodomy is sodomy. There is no genetic predisposition, what. That's just a singing, finishing club. I don't believe in, that's just finishing club. If you go into this whole thing, the psychiatric, there's a criteria back in the 1980s. If you were gay or a lesbian or whatnot, it was called a psychiatric condition. But so this is in the 1980s. I said no, it's a violation of human rights. What. So let's stop. We can say the same thing about lying. There are people, their mental condition is lying. There is no reason for them to lie, and they just feel like I should lie. So we'll say there is a genetic predisposition to lie. I was born by a father who lies. So it means I must also just lie. There are people who are called kleptomaniacs. They just want to steal. For no particular reason, I just have the edge to steal. There was a guy who went to med school with, and he was what they call a kleptomaniac. He was a serial stealer. We would be sitting here together. Where he lives, you must look up and you are sitting here with him. And no, I'm serious, you would go into his room. He has boxes and boxes of nice shoes. And then you go, where is he getting them? He would get to rest with a backpack. When he leaves, he has a sheet that is this big, filled with things in there. So I will say that because it is also classified as a mental condition, that it is good for him to continue stealing because he has a genetic predisposition to steal. That was just on the side. Genetic predisposition to a mental illness. It is a very small part. As I'm saying, what is emphasized out there is genetics. But it is just a small portion of the matter. The second is what we call nurture or development. And that has to do with how we are raised, or how we were raised, the environment that we grew up in, how quickly we mature, especially for the ladies, and then how quickly we mature. Diet plays a very important role on nutrition. We find ladies start going into the menstrual period at the age of 8. Those people have been shown to have a higher predisposition to having a mental health illness than those that go at a later stage. And the primary thing that drives the ladies or the girls to mature so fast is the food that they are eating, or the food that we eat. Makana and all those things. Alright, and then so we said the first one was genetics. Genetics, development. So these are the causes of having a mental health illness. Lifestyle. So we've spoken about a lifestyle now. So lifestyle involves exercise and all those things. Then the next one is circadian rhythm, which I spoke about. So that's your sleep-wake cycle. Then the next one is nutrition. And so I told you I will start with the cure, and then I'll go on to talk about the causes. So nutrition. Why nutrition is so important is because the food that we eat is responsible for forming the thing that we call neurotransmitters. So my brain works on neurotransmitters. So I see something, and in my brain, a chemical is secreted to tell me that this is the image that I'm seeing. You hear me speaking, in your brain, it is secreted to tell you this is what you're hearing. It is the chemical that is secreted to tell you that this is what you are feeling. For example, I think I've spoken a lot. Okay. So, food for neurotransmitters. Addiction, I've spoken about addiction. Toxins. The most dangerous toxin, as I spoke about, was your mercury from the fish. And then the last thing will be the social heat. Now, generally, we say when people have a mental health condition that there are social circumstances that cause them to have a mental health condition. But most of the time, they have a mental health condition and then they become socially awkward. Or if I have depression, I feel like so and so was the cause of my problem, so I want to stay away from those people. And I become socially inept because I am now having a mental health condition. Then it would be your medical conditions. So these also account, or they may be a cause for you having a mental health illness. So it's thyroid, this part here. If you have thyroid conditions, if you have low vitamin B12, vitamin D, or if you have conditions that are called autoimmune conditions. And then the last one would be the frontal lobe. Now, if you read, especially the book Mind, Character and Personality, it talks a lot about the frontal lobe. Are you going to get it? Okay. This is important now. It talks a lot about the frontal lobe is here in front, and it is called the seat of reason. Every thought that I have comes from the frontal lobe. Every decision that I take comes from the frontal lobe. If I have a deactivated frontal lobe, I am prone to have a mental condition. More than having genetics or the genetics, having a frontal lobe that is not functional predisposes one to a mental health condition. Now, how do we deactivate the frontal lobe? It is by constantly and continuously or habitually going against my conscience. I know this is wrong, but let me just do it for now. And then after I've done it, it's like, hey, why did I do that? Okay, then I do it again. It hits the frontal lobe. And then I feel guilty. Guilt is not bad. There's good guilt, there's bad guilt. It's not bad to have guilt. And then I do it again. The more I continue doing the very same thing, it switches or it takes the blood supply away from the frontal lobe. And when they do scans to check patients that have a mental health condition and those that don't, they've seen that those that have a mental condition, they have very poor blood supply to their frontal lobe. It is almost switched off. One thing that we like a lot, I'm partially guilty, but it's something that I've been praying about, is movies. Besides movies being evil, okay. It's either there's God and there's Satan, finish. There's no middle ground. If the movie is not from God, it's from Satan, finish. And the influences that it comes with are from Satan. Okay. Now, that's the first premise. We can't argue and debate about the lessons that we learn from movies. There are no lessons that we learn from movies. For me, it's God or Satan, finish. Now, the problem that we have with... Is it my time to say? Oh, okay. The problem that I'll finish with this one. The problem I'll finish with the frontal lobe. The problem that we have with movies is that within the first 2 to 5 minutes of watching any movie, your frontal lobe is deactivated. So anything and everything that you see from there onward, your subconscious, which feeds to your frontal lobe, says, I have done this. In the past couple of weeks, there have been people who have been shooting kids in the US. They do that because they have been watching so many movies that their conscience, which it has been done now. So for them it's like, but I have been doing it. Why can't I just go and do it again? The music, this rock and roll and this folk, those who they have people in music better than me, the type of tempo that you it dumbs down the frontal lobe. I don't know, you've seen when you listen to these softy songs, hey, you come out feeling very sad, but you are happy. And then you listen to another song and then you are happy. And you see the effect that it has on your reasoning. So just the frontal lobe. Now, one of the things that have been shown, there's still so much I wanted to say, but it's like, one of the things, one of the things that have been shown, now putting in writing, there is nothing that has been calculated to increase mental strength and vigor than the study of the Bible. There is has been shown to increase what? Mental strength and vigor than studying the Bible. Trusting God. These are studies not done by Adventists. These are studies not done by Adventists. It has been shown that people that have religious experience far way better when they have a mental illness than those that have an extrinsic. An intrinsic is me walking daily with God. Just as, it was not in a trance, she says, it was not in a trance, it was in his daily experience and communion with God.
People who have an intrinsic, they spend time daily in the Word. Not only does it improve their frontal lobe, it protects them from having a mental health issue. This is where I close.
John 17, verses 3. Christ says, I have come. No. Put it. And this is life eternal. That they may know thee, the only true God, and Christ, whom thou hast sent. Let's pray. My Father in heaven, you know our state, you know each and every one of us. If we walk out of here not having had an experience with you, it is in vain. There is so much knowledge we know, and we have been taught of it all over and over again. We find ourselves going back to that which we know is not correct. Forgive us, dear Father. I pray in a special way that you help us not only to sit here and hear the messages. We see the world that we are living in. The signs are all there. You are coming back. I pray, I earnestly pray, Lord, that if there are things that we are still holding on to as individuals, may you bother us until we let go of them. I pray that you speak to us, may our minds be clear all the time, and may we be the lights that you said you want us to be. It is in your name that I pray. Amen.
Eka